Hey all, Dan here again. Today I'm going to do a little tech talk on SPL, speaker efficiency, actually. I'm going to talk about efficiency, where that comes from. And this applies not just to headphones and everything else, but also to speakers and subwoofers and tweeters and everything else like that. It's just a general description of what really transducer efficiency is and how it can be defined and what drives it. I find it to be a very complex subject. A lot of people are interested in it. So let's dive right into it. So I'm going to start off by first flipping the camera around. Don't you love technology? Isn't this great? And I want to start with this equation up here. And eta naught, basically, it's the symbol we use, and this is the symbol for proportional. Basically, this is the symbol for speaker efficiency, transducer efficiency. In other words, if I put in 1 watt of electrical power, how much acoustical power do I get out? That's what that means. So it's efficiency. It's basically power in to power out, electrical power in, acoustical power out. Proportional means what affects it. So this is really the equation you need to understand. Speaker efficiency is proportional to the BL squared. So that's motor force. If you're familiar with BL, that's B is the flux in the gap, L is the length of the voice coil integrating the flux squared. SD, that's cone area squared. MMS, moving mass. What I want you to pay attention to, for those guys who are doing subwoofers and things like that, what's missing here? There's nothing in there about compliance. Stiffness of a speaker does nothing for efficiency. So I want you to stop and think about that again. Stiffness of the speaker, the stiffness of the suspension, spider, anything like that, is not part of this equation anywhere. Now there's a couple like constants in here too, like, rho, which is, density of the air and things like that. And there's like a 2 pi in there, I think, as well. But if effectively, the efficiency is motor strength, surface area of the cone, and moving mass. Now, I think we can all agree, flip back to me here, I think we can all agree that when a speaker is operating, or transducer operating, moving mass and surface area are pretty much fixed. They're not going to change. If the surface area of your cone is changing while it's moving, you got problems. Things are like ripping off of it or something like that. If the moving mass is changing, you're either dropping stuff off the cone or somebody's like throwing a lot of crap on your cone and it's sticking and changing it. So those two are fixed for a given speaker. So what does that mean? Go back to the equation. Effectively, BL is what's driving your speaker efficiency. These essentially are constants for a given driver. This, people will say, oh, it's constant too, but it really isn't. I'm sure you've all been familiar with Klippel curves and BL curves and things like that. Aha, that's what we get to here. Let's stop and look at that. What do we see? Well, we see BL X. So this is your traditional BL motor strength as it changes with position, as it moves forward, as it moves backwards, kind of a thing, right? Traditional speakers is blue curve. Okay, the BL changes with position. Dual gap or some of the better design like underhungs and things like that, which are not quite as efficient as the dual gap kind of stuff, is this one here, okay? So we look at that and we say, oh, okay, so BL. Look at that equation again. Again, for a given speaker, SD and MMS are fixed. Those are fixed. So essentially, efficiency is proportional to the square of BL. What happens to BL as your speaker moves? Well, as it starts to move in a traditional speaker, it starts to drop off. So that means you may have a given efficiency here. Over here it's lower. Over here it's lower. Over here it's lower. It keeps dropping as it goes. So what that means is your speaker gets less efficient as it moves in a traditional overhung parabolic kind of shape. Now a dual gap, on the other hand, what happens? Well, it's got an efficiency here, it's got an efficiency here, efficiency here, efficiency here, efficiency here. It's all the same. And I just drew these offset, actually, oftentimes. Usually it's up in here. I just drew those offsets so you can see the difference between the two. So you're not like, well, what the hell's going on in there? So it's very, very flat. So what that means is the efficiency does not change with position until you're way out near the limits, beyond where everybody else is normally going, right? So what does all that mean? Simple. What it means is that BL, as your BL changes as you move, typically, you'll lose efficiency. So your speaker may be, hey, great, I got this 89 dB efficient speaker. I got 104 dB efficient headphone, things like that. That's without it moving. As it starts to move, what happens? The efficiency drops. So at very, very small level, yeah, your subwoofer is 89. At bigger levels, it's 88. At big levels, it's 86. Out here, it's losing it. You're compressing. You're losing output. A dual gap design or a highly optimized flat BL kind of curve like you could do with an underhung, even though it's really inefficient overall because, you use a very little amount of, your L really goes down for the B. Very, very flat curve, it means, oh yeah, you're 89 here, you're 89 here, you're 89 here. It doesn't change, it's flat. So you keep the dynamics, you keep everything there. So speaker efficiency by itself, it only applies to the very, very center part. And it's completely driven by BL, SD, and MMS. Remember, these are fixed. So the BL. So as your BL changes, it's going to drop. So don't worry so much about, well, what's the reference efficiency of my speaker? What's the reference efficiency? Doesn't really matter that much because you're not listening to it just in that range. You're listening to it over this range. And it starts dropping off. It starts getting lower and lower and lower. That's not good. That is why you want a flat BL curve, because it's better. So all efficiencies are not the same. You can have what looks like a very high efficiency on paper, but it's only over a very narrow range. I personally would, sacrifice a dB or two in efficiency to get that same efficiency over the entire range of operation. You end up with a speaker or a headphone that's more dynamic, sounds more lifelike, and as a result, actually is more musical. Overall, it's a better experience, and it tends to have a higher overall potential SPL. That's what you want. So I hope that helps a bit. Basic math, understand, it's just moving mass, surface area, and BL. There you go. That's your efficiency lesson for the day. Have a good one, y'all. See ya. Bye.